where I will talk about how we've set how I done the adjustments and stuff and what I used. Yeah, I just realised I had my mic muted, so 1,000 apologies. I think I might have to walk back through some of it again in a second. So what we're going to do, if you're going from Lightroom Classic, so you're going to need to go up to the, oh, I'm in the wrong bit. Go up here, so you need to make sure that you have your, so if you are in the develop module, it's fine. Most of us have this down anyway, so we can see what we're doing, or we just have it up, simples. And you can change your identity in there, which I probably will do. So at some point. So then what we're going to do is then go to Photo, Edit in Adobe Photoshop 2026, and I would make sure you have it up to date. Otherwise, Lightroom will tell you otherwise, along with Photoshop, and it can be a right pain sometimes, believe me. It can be a right pain. So what we're going to do is go there. You can use Command E to send it into Photoshop, but I like to do it through the menu route because it's just quicker than messing about with key commands, and not everybody can do do the keystroke commands anyway. So just waiting for Photoshop. Okay, this has gone, something's gone wrong here. Right, okay, use embedded. I think I'm gonna have to go down to, right, okay, color settings. Should be fine. What's going on? Right, okay. Don't want that. Convert profile. We want RGB. I'm not going to mess about with these too much. Oh, I want that profile because that's what I'm using. So right, we're sorted. So what we're going to do is, if it's on Windows, it's Control J. If it's on Apple, it's Command J. So what we're going to do is make a copy. I don't always rename my layers, but as I'm streaming, I'm going to rename them as I go along. So hopefully that will keep keep the file more organized. So here again, just a quick recap. We've got our Photoshop menus up here, and we've got our Photoshop tools. So for what we need, for what we're using, so we've got the move tool, the ellipsis tool, the rectangular marquee tool, the lasso, magic wand, object selection, magic wand tool, quick selection, crop tool, frame tool, color picker, spot healing. If I just, no, I don't want to click on it. I want to just click on the little triangle. Got spot healing brush tool, remove tool, healing brush tool, patch tool, content aware move tool, red eye tool, and the brush tool, which has the mixer brush, pencil tool, color replacement brush, clone stamps, the same clone stamp tool, clone stamp pattern, history brush, eraser where you can erase things, gradient tool with paint bucket underneath, smudge tool that contains the blur and sharpen tool, adjustment brush, dodge and burn and sponge, pen tool, text, direct path selection tool, shape tool, hand tool, magnifying tool, and the three little dot menu, which I think you can add more tools to. Or you can put tools into it, so if you don't want to clutter up your toolbox, you can. And then here we've got layers, we've got layer effects, layer masking, adjustment layers, layer groups, new layer, trash can. If you don't like the layer, you can get rid of it. If you've made a mistake, you can get rid of it as well. And also, the best other command is Command Z to undo. do as well. And then we got channels, so we got RGB, red, grey, and blue. Then we got paths, so if you're doing like using the pen tool sharp, the paths will show up here. Excuse me. Then we got properties where we have all of that and a few other things. Then we got quick actions, remove background, select subject, and view more. And then we've got the adjustments panel, presets, and then libraries, which you can do different things with, which I won't show you in this one. We've got comments, we've got history panel, we've got color panel, we've got swatches, we've got gradient, we've got pattern, you name it. Photoshop's got the full works basically. So what we're going to do is basically just going to do some Photoshop basics, which if your first time using Photoshop, I fully recommend you start off with the basics and then work your way up, because it is going to then make your life a whole lot easier, believe me. I for years watched digital camera magazine disc videos on Photoshop, and I also just had a play as well as the site, as well as sites like Crafty, which are an online training platform, which we've used in the past, followed by Kelby One, which we love, which I love a lot, and also has loads of great photographers, artists, graphic designers. There's the lot. So yeah, if you start off with the basics and then work your way up, you're gonna find Photoshop becomes more of a breeze almost. Well, not quite a breeze, but you'll find your way around that little bit quicker, which is really good and really handy as well, because you can always clever thing is you always gonna how can I put it? I'm getting my words all mixed up now, which isn't brilliant, so apologies for that. Which is with Photoshop, you never stop learning. You're always learning something new, which I find is quite nice, because we then can then show things that we never thought to try, basically, if that makes sense. So yeah. So yeah. So yeah. So yeah, we so yeah. The once you understand Photoshop, when you come to like doing like say different things in Photoshop, once you have the basics down to it makes understanding Photoshop that little bit easier easier to do, and it makes life when editing a photo so non-destructively that little bit easier. So yeah, I have seen some people go try and do things straight onto a background layer, and I'll be honest, please do not do that, as you're going to destroy the image, and then you'll be doing destructive editing, which is not good. So yeah, so I always prefer to duplicate my background layer to make sure then if I do make a mistake, I can reduplicate it afterwards. So yeah, I'm also going to be using in the stream a graphics tablet, which is a Wacom. I'm going to be using a Wacom tablet, graphics tablet, which a lot of photographers use. There is Sense Labs, there's loads on the market for graphics tablets now. It's not just Wacom now, but for this demonstration, I'm using a Wacom Intimus Pro 2019 model, which is medium, with the 2019 Pro Pen 2, which, if I be honest, is quite fun to use sometimes. But to be really honest, if you don't have enough space and you've only got a small desk, I would look at the small one, but just check to make sure it's compatible with the size of your laptop or desktop. Sometimes the smaller the tablet, the computer struggles to pick it up. So right, what I'm gonna do is rename my layers. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go before camera. Oh bother, what have I just pushed? Before camera raw. And then what I'm going to do is drag that down to the new layer thing, and I'm going to rename that to going into camera raw. So most people would, if they're editing a raw file and they're using Adobe Bridge, would go straight to to the camera raw thing, because it'll open up automatically. But I much prefer doing it in Lightroom Classic. I much prefer Lightroom Classic to Adobe Bridge more, because you've got that little you aren't having to manage your own images as such. You're telling Lightroom where they are basically. Just make sure you don't move them behind Lightroom's back, otherwise Lightroom does get very unhappy and then wants you to reconnect them again to tell it where you've moved it basically. So here you would probably click on there, but don't do that. If you going to use the camera raw filter, please convert to a smart filter, because it adds a protective layer around your image. I've seen some people do that where they've gone straight into camera raw, and the worry is if you make a mistake in camera raw or you don't know what you've done, you can't change it. You have to then get rid of the layer, then redo it again. Whereas with a smart filter, all you have to do is click onto the camera raw icon underneath, and then you can re-edit it and make any changes with the smart filters, which I love doing a lot of the time. And also, because I'm left-handed, I've got my Wacom tablet set up slightly differently. So I have my control keys on, which I have next to me, to the right of me, and then which to the right side of me, so that I can easily push the button to change the size or to do a key control. Most of the time I will be using the keyboard. Most of the time I will be using the menus, but I will also be using the pen as well, which is quite nice to grip. It's got a nice good firm texture grip to it. So yeah. So what I've done some basic adjustments already. Oh, that's too close. If we zoom in, the detail on that, this was actually taken on the Sony A7 Mark III, and the quality of it when it comes out of the camera into the computer is just beautiful. I do also shoot OM as well, OM systems, OM1, Mark 1, and the images that come out from that as well. Oh, both cameras, you couldn't tell the difference. It's just beautiful. Honestly, it's just beautiful. So what we're going to do, as we're in camera raw, my version is 18.1.1. Yours might be different, so depending on what you have, version of Adobe Camera Raw and Photoshop and Lightroom Classic or Lightroom for the cloud, might need to go and update them in your Creative Cloud desktop app, which you can do by just typing into depending on where, if you're on an app or your launch pad, and just typing in Adobe Creative Cloud or scrolling down to find it. On Windows, you just use a little search and you type in Creative Cloud and it'll come up. You can search it through, use their version of the Launchpad as well, which is their start menu to also find it as well. But I tend to, for quickness, type it in the searches because then it gets me quicker to where I need to update my software. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the masking panel, which is this panel. So create new mask. These are all AI. They're not, well, yeah, they are AI generated masks because they're using Adobe Sensei to find the sky background or the subject, the main subject. Yes, the main subject. And then if you're doing people, the people's faces will show up here, and then you'll have the masks that you can use. I have done that, but the problem is if you've got somebody that's got their eyes half open and half closed, it does get a little bit messy. So I do prefer to, if I do have that sort of situation, to use the brush tool, the adjustment brush, which is really easy and I just love. I'm actually going to take my brush size down. So what I'm going to do is hold down my thingy and then use my finger to scroll. Actually, I'm just going to use the thingy because it's easier. Use the square bracket keys on your keyboard. And then I'm just going to do a very rough select brush stroke. I will tidy it up. I just need basic things, the basic thing down first. Then I'm going to brighten it. Then I'm going to scroll down. I'm actually going to add a little bit warmth because it's looking a little bit cold in that area. Where I was facing, I was photographing it, the sun's coming in from the other direction, so it's going onto the side more than the side I was on, but that was fine. And then we got the amount slider as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to slightly adjust that so then it doesn't look too over the top. To the top, and then we're going to create a new mask, and I'm just going to slightly darken that up a little bit. It's a little bit bright for my liking. And then I'm going to subtract the mask with color range. So what I'm going to then do is just select the sky's color, and I'll only do it on this bit. And I'm just going to adjust the amount so it's not too overpowering. And then I'm gonna do color range, select the sky, which will then select the water and select any of the lighter parts. Color picker, color point. I probably want, no, I don't want purple. I want a slight turquoise blue, slightly more sky blue. Probably gonna take it down to -3, which works quite nicely. And then I'm gonna come out of there. I'm just gonna do some global adjustments. The basic. This is the light panel, but in Lightroom Classic, it has a basic panel, tone curve, color, color mixer, color grading, detail, lens correction, lens blur, calibration. So yeah, there's some slight differences in camera to Lightroom Classic's development module and Lightroom from the cloud as well, but they're pretty similar, so you won't have too much. It won't be too much. There won't be too much difference. And then I'm just going to use the tone curve. I'm probably just going to go for the built-in preset, which is medium contrast, which I use quite a lot. And then tone curve, I'm probably going to take down the highlight, up the lightness, take the darks down, and put the shadows. And then I'm going to hit OK. Just a quick hydration because I don't want to start coughing all of a sudden. Then from talking too much. And then, so down here in the base, in the adjustments panel, in the adjustments panel, we have got curves, levels, brightness and contrast, color and vibrance, exposure, hue and saturation, color balance, black and white, photo filter, channel mixer, color lookup tables, selected color, invert, polarize, threshold, gradient maps, which I love as well. But I'm going to show you how the color channel mixer works, which, believe me, you'll have a lot of fun. So what we got here, we've got red, green, and blue. I'm actually gonna just the green and the blue and the red, and I'm gonna go back up. No, actually, that's not what I was gonna plan to do. Scrap that. Sorry, everyone. So then, what I'm then gonna do is probably do the brightness and contrast, but I'm gonna invert the layer, which is Command I on a Mac and Control I on a PC, or you can just go to the mask icon and select invert. I just like the key command because it's quicker. So use a mixture of menus and then key commands as well. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of exposure and add a little bit of contrast. And then I'm going to push B on my keyboard for the brush, or you can go up to this little side the menu here, tool menu, and get and click on your brush. And what I'm just gonna do is I'm gonna brighten the area up. I'm just gonna use X quickly to tidy that bit up. I probably should size my brush down and then zoom in, which I have done now. And then what I'm going to do is swap back to white again. And I'm going to just brighten areas up that just don't seem to have enough light on them. So just to make them stand out a bit more, and just add a little bit more light to them. Not too much, of course, but just enough so that we can get the light, so it does have a bit of light on it. And then I'm going to go back to adjustments, color and vibrancy, and I'm just going to take the vibrancy slightly down, not too much of course, but just a little bit down. And then I'm gonna go to black and white because I want to see what it looks like in black and white, and then I'm going to click infrared, which looks real crazy. See? But if I duplicate it and then swap it to dark, to the darker preset, it's gonna do something. It's gonna change it, so it's gonna make it look a bit more black and like normal black and white, but you still got the lightness in places. And then I'm gonna duplicate that layer again, and we're gonna go lighter, which then works. So that's what we got here. We've got our three black and white layers. We've got infrared, we've got darker, we've got lighter, and they both will even out the sky. I actually want to convert it. Would have wanted to convert to black and white. So what I'm going to do is select them all, and I'm going to group it. And I'm going to turn off the group because I don't quite need it yet. So then once I turn that off, I'm going to go back to this layer here, which is my color and vibrancy layer. Yeah, and then I'm going to merge visible. So hold down the Alt or Option key. It's Option on a Mac and Alt on Windows. Go to the layers menu, push merge visible, or you can do Shift Control E or Command E. And then there's flatten image after, and there's There's flatten image, so once you finish, you can flatten it down, and then you've got merge layer. So if you've got more than one layer that you wanna like you've done with and you wanna merge down, you can merge those down. So right now that that's all there, I'm going to oh crikey, forgot that's gonna happen. I'm going to move to this side as I've tried to crop out as much of the meta as possible. But unfortunately we've got to tidy that up sadly. So what I'm going to do is going to do it underneath the group, which I find works better. And actually I'm going to merge visible because that works as well. And then I'm just going to size my brush down. And then I'm going to just basically remove these metal thingies from the image. You could probably use the generative fill, but I'm not really a massive fan of that. I much prefer learning the tools more, but it's completely up to you what you want to do in Photoshop. Photoshop's basically your playground to play in, and explore different things and try different things and do all sorts. So what I'm just doing is I'm just painting over, and then it gets rid of it. For the ones that are a bit more complicated, I'm probably going to use either the patch tool or the lasso tool, and then I'm going to do content aware fill, which is in the edit menu for both Apple and Windows. If you've got any, also I forgot to mention, if you've got any questions about Photoshop, feel free to put them in the chat, and I will try my best to answer the questions, or as many questions as possible whilst editing, of course. So what I'm going to do is hold down my space bar, which will then bring up my hand tool automatically for me, and I'm just going to move around the image and just tidy these little bits up. These little bits up that might need to be removed. Those three are definitely going to have to be removed with content, with edit and fill. I prefer the old one more because it's quite good. It gets the job done, which I haven't done a good job lassoing. So what I'm going to do is just select this middle one, go up to the edit menu, push fill, content aware fill from the drop down menu. So you've got foreground color, background color, content aware fill, pattern history, black, 50% grey, white. I want content. We're going to be using content aware for this, and then I have the option of color adaptation ticked, preserve transparency off, and the blend mode and the opacity set to normal and 100. So let's see what happens. A little bit of tidying up will have to be taken place, but that's fine. I would much rather that than anything else. And then I'm gonna get rid of that, which has done a pretty good job. Might need a little bit of tidying up, but that's fine. And then just gonna go all the way around here, and then we're gonna go fill. It doesn't do a brilliant job all the time, but that was going to be a bit of a pain, so I might have to actually swap to the remove tool. I'm going to turn AI off because I don't want it. And it just sort of gives you that little like heads up tip. Removing may use generative AI but does not use generative credits. I haven't really noticed anything, but it's something to take, I think, into consideration if you're. Actually, this is going to probably take way too long. I'm going to go back to. Also, you might want to have a good internet connection as well, because otherwise, if you're going to use the AI tools, it's going to be very slow. I feel like that might. No, that's a pole. That's a bit of a little bit from not too far from where I was standing. Just going to tidy that bit because it's looking a little bit messy. Still hasn't done a good job, but could probably get the stop healing tool. And as it's selected, that's fine, do that. Right, so just gonna get the healing tool. Actually, that wasn't quite good. Go back again. Okay, right, let's sort mode. Go back now because I don't think I can remove it. So it's just going to have to stay there, unfortunately. Oh well. So I've managed to remove most of them, if you can see. I've managed to remove most of them. Still them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to merge visible again by holding down Alt. I'm actually going to do a darker layer. The reason is I want to see if I turn off that. Yeah. So it does work. I don't want to blow the sky out too much, so what I think I'm going to do is do that. Close the layer. Get my brush. I'm going to take the flow down from 100 to about 37. Opacity, I think we're going to go 43. And then I think we're just going to gently bring back the light. So I'm just gently putting light back into the water, the boats, all of this stuff here on the other side as well. And I'm making sure that each bit gets a little bit more. So it's just slowly adding it in. So the sky's dark, but the foreground is lighter than the sky. Just going to do a tones color and then I'm going to drop the opacity. Okay, so what we've got here, I'm going to name that layer. I go black and white. Dark sky. Merge visible. Search invisible. Ooh, okay. I'm bringing down the colour a little bit. Light ting update. Actually, bringing out the boat. There we go. Just name that as background. Background layer. Right. So now we've got what we're needing now. It's time we did another merge visible. And then I'm going to convert to smart filter again, and I'm going to do the unsharpen mask. So go down to sharpen, unsharp mask. Sort of put the sharpness up a bit more, and then the threshold a bit more, so then it doesn't affect parts of the image. And then I'm going to merge visible again, so that is unsharpen mask, or mask, however you want to pronounce it. Camera raw, convert to smart filter, so it's editable again if I do change my mind. And then I'm going to go camera raw. And then I'm going to zoom into the image, and I'm going to take the spot healing tool in camera raw. Camera, just going to draw a rough circle overall around it, sorry, and then it's disappeared. I do see some other dust spots, so if I turn on the visualize spots and then use my thingy, I might be better off just using Photoshop to do that bit because it's a little bit easier in there. And then I'm just going to add some shadow, a little bit of contrast, go down to filters, I probably won't use filters because I was going to try and put a matte filter on top, but it's not available for black and white, it's only available for colour images. And then I think I'm just going to do that and that and that. So this is what we've got so far. So we start, that's the background layer, and this is all the way up towards the, not far from the final result. What I am going to do is I am going to merge a visible because I'm going to need a spot healing brush, and I'm going to need curves. Now this is a very good way of getting rid of dust spots from the model's skin or from your lens when doing a landscape or a macro thingy. Oh, hello, found one. Found a few. So if we zoom in at the top, there's one that's hiding. I don't think it can't be found, but just found it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do that, draw a small oval, and it's getting rid of it. And just checking the image, just make sure that there's no residual dust spots. I didn't miss when cleaning the sensors. or sensor, and then I'm going to, actually there's one up here that's trying to escape. Actually, no, it wasn't. Pull to the screen at some point. So yeah, that's what we're looking at, and then what I'm going to then do is just remove the hidden layer because we don't need it now. So that was dust removal, and then just add another black and white layer to complete it, I think. Merge visible again. I'm probably going to do sort of go to convert to smart filter and just sort the noise levels out. So noise reduction. Probably going to move the preserve detail up as well so that it doesn't affect. But yeah, I quite like that. That's the final image. I think we will merge visible again. Excuse me. Go to convert to smart filter, go camera raw, and just add a slight vignette around the image. So camera raw. I'm going to go down to the effects panel and just add a 5% -5 vignette. And it looks very nice now, and it's darkened the edges too slightly, so that's good. And then all we're going to do is go up to layer, flatten image, and there we go. And then go to file, save, and then we will jump back to Lightroom, and it should just about magically appear. So this is what the final image looks like. It's like, so yeah, this is what the final image looks like. So yeah, it was going to be quite a short stream today anyway, because I have been busy all of today, so it was just going to be a very short stream discussing how to set Photoshop up and some basic editing techniques. Hopefully you got something out of it. If you have a question and you didn't get to ask it in the live, please leave it in the comment section and I will try and answer. I will try and answer it. So thank you once again for joining me for Friday's stream. The poll on socials was very vocal, along with LinkedIn as well, on what today's live stream, this evening's live stream, was going to be. So thank you very much, and I will catch you in the next